All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about a situation that has put one of America's most lethal military assets on a total hair trigger. It's this wild story of secret construction, spies in the sky, and a frantic race against time happening deep inside a mountain. And it really all kicked off with just one sentence. On February 13th, 2026, the New York Times published a report, and buried inside was a line so chilling, it apparently sent shockwaves all the way through the Pentagon. So you gotta ask, what could possibly be that alarming? Well, this was it. The phrase was abnormally high alert. Now, that might just sound like military jargon, but trust me, it's not. For the B-2 stealth bomber fleet, we're talking about the tip of the spear here. Based at Whiteman Air Force Base, it means they are wheels up, ready for a mission, like right now. It's a state of readiness that burns through an insane amount of resources, and you only order it when the possibility of actual war is very, very real. So that's the big question, right? Why? Why the sudden all-hands-on-deck urgency? What on earth could justify putting America's most advanced, most expensive strategic bombers on standby like this? The answer, it turns out, lies buried deep inside a place called Pickaxe Mountain in Iran. See, intelligence agencies have been watching this secret construction project, and what they found, well, it's completely changed the game. The entire strategic calculation is out the window. So check this out. Commercial satellites, the kind from Planet Labs, have been snapping pictures and they show work happening around the clock. You can literally see the evidence of this massive construction project. Fresh concrete being poured, heavy machinery crawling all over the place. But the real smoking gun, the one detail that set off all the alarms in Washington, was the installation of something they call concrete headworks. So what in the world are headworks? It sounds technical, but the idea is actually pretty simple. In engineering, you only build these things when you plan to pile an immense amount of material. We're talking rock, soil, more concrete, right on top of a tunnel. It's a dead giveaway. An unmistakable sign that Iran isn't just building another underground facility, they're building one to be crazy deep and for all intents and purposes, indestructible. And to really get a sense of how big a deal this is, just look at the comparison. The old Fordo facility, the one that was destroyed back in 2025, that was buried about 60 meters deep. Analysts are now saying Pickaxe Mountain is being built to a depth of 90 to 120 meters. That is a massive, game-changing difference. We're going from a target that was already incredibly hard to destroy to one that might just be impossible with the weapons we have right now. And that right there, that sets up this classic high-stakes showdown. It's a high-tech duel in the dark between America's most powerful conventional bomb and what Iran hopes will be the ultimate underground fortress. So let's meet America's champion in this fight, the GBU-57. Its nickname? The Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOP for short. And get this, each one weighs 30,000 pounds. This is the absolute go-to weapon for taking out targets buried deep, deep underground. And how it works is just brutally effective. A B-2 bomber releases it from way up high, and it just uses gravity and GPS to rocket towards its target. It hits with unbelievable force, punching deep into the earth or concrete. Then a delayed fuse goes off, setting off a massive warhead that creates this huge underground shockwave. And here's the crazy part. Planners can even drop multiple bombs on the exact same spot, basically boring their way down to get to the target. But, and this is the billion-dollar question that military planners are losing sleep over right now, the MOP was designed to take out facilities like Fordo, buried at 60 meters. Is it powerful enough to reliably destroy a target that's buried twice as deep? The honest answer is they don't know for sure. And that uncertainty, that's what's driving this entire crisis. Okay, so it's absolutely crucial to understand that this Pickaxe Mountain facility isn't just happening in a vacuum. Nope. It's just one piece of a much larger, much more sophisticated strategy by Iran. Think of it like a shadow war being fought on multiple fronts all at once. See, this isn't happening in isolation at all. While they're digging deep at Pickaxe Mountain, they're also rebuilding other sites like the one at Isfahan, but this time under new roofs to hide what they're doing from satellites. Over at Parchin, they're building new test chambers for high-explosive triggers, the kind you need for a weapon. And all the while this is going on, their diplomats are in Geneva talking, keeping the conversation going, and, you have to assume, playing for time. It is a really sophisticated, multi-layered strategy. Now, what makes the U.S. response so tricky is the reality of its bomber fleet. I mean, think about this. America only ever built 20 B-2s. That's it. And when you factor in losses and planes that are always down for heavy maintenance, the number of bombers that are actually operational is even smaller, somewhere around 18. And on any given day, not even all of those are ready to fly a mission. The bottom line is, the force you have to carry out a complex, long-range strike like this is incredibly small and incredibly precious.
So when you put all these pieces together, the super deep bunker, the limits of our own weapons, Iran's really clever coordinated strategy, and our tiny fleet of bombers, you get to one inescapable conclusion. The window to do something about this is closing. And it's closing fast.
This timeline just shows you how quickly things have spun up. After the US strike back in June of last year, you might think Iran would back down. But they didn't. They accelerated. From hiding their reconstruction work in January to this round-the-clock digging we just confirmed a few days ago, the pace is just getting faster and faster, forcing the US into a corner where it has to make a decision.
And this is really the end game. You've got 3 different clocks all ticking towards midnight at the same time. First, you have the military clock, as that bunker gets deeper and harder to kill with every passing day. Then there's the diplomatic clock, with Iran threatening to just walk away from the non-proliferation treaty, just like North Korea did. And then, maybe the most dangerous one of all, the proliferation clock. If Iran gets a bomb, Saudi Arabia has promised the world it will get one too, and that could kick off a terrifying nuclear arms race across the entire Middle East. And so, that's where we're left, as the digging at Pickaxe Mountain continues, day and night, under the constant gaze of satellites. The final question isn't if this window of opportunity will close. We know it will. The real question is, what happens the day after it finally slams shut?